So, back when bread used to not be sliced and then it was sliced and everyone just like freaked out about it? This is that, but for trick-taking games. They took a normal concept, like you're going to slice your bread at home, but what if we like slice it for you at the store and then put it in the bag? And it's like, pfft, why didn't anyone think of that before? That's this. This is Cat in the Box from Bezier Games, and it's a trick-taking game, just like every other trick-taking game you've ever played. It's spades, it's hearts, you're playing cards, you play the high card, you win, there's a leading suit, there's a trump suit. It's a trick-taking game. Except instead of like having actual suits, all the cards are just the same color. And they're like, hey, what if instead of having suits on the card, you just pick what suit you want your card to be? A little bit of hyperbole there. It may not be the greatest thing to board games since, or trick-taking games since sliced breads, but it is an incredibly novel idea, and I love it. I love when someone takes something that is just known. Trick-taking games have been around forever. We've all played spades, we've all played hearts, we've all played trick-taking games, and we know them. And what they did with this game was they took a trick-taking game and made one little twist to it that made a whole other depth of strategy that just shook up the game and made it awesome. There's 4 suits, there's 4 colors. You have red, you have blue, you have yellow, you have green. Everyone is dealt a hand of 10 cards. The number of cards that are in the game depends on your player count. With a 4-player game, you have 1 through 8. With a 5-player game, you have 9. With fewer players, you have fewer numbers so that the math works out. Red is the trump suit. That's an important thing. Red is the trump suit, just like in spades. Spades are the trump suit. Someone's going to start off, and they're going to play a leading hand, and they are going to, unlike regular trick-taking games where you like pick a suit and you say, okay, I'm going to play the 8 of hearts. You play a card, you pick a number, and then you pick what suit it is. So I say I'm going to play an 8. This is going to be a blue 8. I'm going to put my little token here on blue to show that it is a blue 8. Now, if you didn't watch Big Bang Theory and don't know the reference, Cat in the Box, there was a guy named Dr. Schrodinger who had this idea that if you put a cat in the box, the cat is both alive and dead until you open the box and see. Until you observe the cat, you don't know, so it is both alive and dead in that box. This is the same thing. You have a bunch of cards in your hand. You don't know what suit those cards are until you observe them as a suit. So, I have played a blue 8. As long as you have a blue card, you must play it. So, this player, I don't have their cards for them, but this player is going to play, let's say, a blue 5, and then this player is going to play a blue 4, and then this player is going to play a blue 3. You can play any card of that number, and you assign it a suit when you play it. So now let's say we've gone a couple more rounds, and we'll say we played yellow next time. So now let's say this player over here won with a yellow 7, and now they're going to play a blue 7. The suit is blue. Now I must decide if I want to play a card in my hand and I want it to be blue, which again, I can only play a 1, 2, or 6 and have it be blue. So even if I have a 1, 2, or 6 that I could play, I might decide, hey, none of my cards are blue. I take this little thing off. I say I am out of blue cards and I can no longer play blue. Now I'm going to say, hey, I have a red 1. So I'm going to play a red 1. I win because red is the trump suit. So I win. I take that trick. Now this is going to go back and forth for a while. People are going to fill up the board with all kinds of numbers. So now we get down the road. I have declared at some point that I didn't have green in order to play this red 3 up here. Something like that. And now someone plays, let's say this player plays a yellow 6. Let's say I'm left with just a 3 and a 5 in my hand, but I don't have any greens left. I have said earlier that I did not have any greens left. If you ever get into a position where you cannot legally play a card because of the cards that you have, or the colors that you have stated that you don't have, you cause a paradox. And when a paradox happens, that ends the round. Immediately you don't finish that trick. As soon as someone is not legally able to play a card, it causes the paradox, the round ends, And if you are the one that caused the paradox, instead of getting 1 point for each trick that you gained, you lose a point for each trick that you gained or that you won. So let's say I took 3 tricks. Instead of having 3 points, I now have -3 points. Now, one other element of scoring, at the beginning of the round, you're going to predict how many tricks you're going to take by placing it on one of these numbers here. So let's say I think I'm going to take 2 tricks. If you accurately predict the number of tricks that you take and you were not the one to cause a paradox, you get bonus points for your largest cluster of markers right here. So if I was red, my largest cluster of adjacent markers is 2. So I would get 2 points for the 2 tricks that I won, and then 2 points for that cluster. Now let's say that this blue little planet guy over here accurately predicted their number of tricks. Let's say they took 3 and they had predicted 3 on their board here. So now they have 3 for the ones that they took, and then they also have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for their largest cluster. There's no penalty for being wrong, but there is a potentially great reward for being right in predicting the number of tricks that you're going to take. So instead of scoring 3 for taking 3 tricks, the blue would have scored 8 for their 3 tricks plus their cluster of 5 right here. That's the whole game. That is the gameplay. You're playing tricks. You're deciding what suit it is. You're deciding strategically when you want to say, I don't have any more of that card. You can't lead with red until red has been broken by someone saying on a trick that was led off by another color that they don't have that color. Like, you have to break the red, just like in spades, if I remember right. So it's very standard trick-taking rules, but just that little bit of change of like you get to pick what suit your cards are changes the strategy so much, because you're not only deciding like, when do I want to decide that this is a red and therefore trumps all of the other cards, what am I blocking myself out of? Now, really key point here, there are 5 of every card, not 4. So there's 4 different colors. There are 5 of each card. So card counting comes into play too, because let's say that in this case, there's 3 5s that have been played. If I have 2 5s still in my hand, I know that that 5 is going to stay open. And as long as I have not locked myself out of green, I know that I can at least, worst case scenario, play a green 5 there, even if that means I've got to give up another color. If I only have 1 5 and there's 1 5 open, everyone burns 1 card at the beginning of the round so that you can't fully count cards, that you don't know what's over here. Like, if these weren't there, then I know, okay, I only have 1 5. Someone else has a 5. If I only have 1 5, the last one might be in here. But if I have 2 5s and there's only 1 5 open, I know for sure that I have this space open, that no one else can play a 5. That's very important as you get down to trying to, like, if no one causes a paradox, then it just goes until everyone has played their cards. You count up your points. But paradoxes happen often because there's that, like, it's hard to predict what's going to be played. And because there are 5 of each card, like, you're very likely to get to a place where someone has to play a card that just cannot be played. The strategic decisions that are brought into this game by changing just that little bit of, instead of like assigning actual suits to the cards, we're just going to let you pick as you play them, is so fantastically brilliant. I fell in love with this game as soon as I played it. I played it with Devin and his wife. I could not wait to get home and show this game to Allison because it was so good. This takes trick-taking and doesn't add anything to the actual trick-taking, and somehow makes a game that is so strategically unique that it just, man, it's such a simple little concept, but they made that little tweak that makes it its own unique, awesome game, and I love it. I endorse this game. Cat in the Box, if you like trick-taking, it's fantastic. Again, it's standard trick-taking rules with a really cool twist on it. I hope you get to play it. It's awesome. So, Cat in the Box. I will leave links to where you can find this. Again, if you like trick-taking, it's a no-brainer to me. If you have any questions, let me know. And until next time, we will see you later. Bye.